On a small island in the cold grey water between Denmark's two largest landmasses, there is a field of barley. And rising out of it, turning slowly against the sky, a wind turbine that pays a farmer's mortgage. The people who built these turbines were not activists. Most of them are farmers and fishermen. And when the plan was first proposed, a great many of them were against it. This is Samso. Fewer than 4,000 people, one doctor, a handful of villages, a ferry to the mainland twice a day. And today it produces more clean energy than it uses. It is, on paper, carbon negative, which raises a genuinely strange question. Why here? Why did an island of conservative farmers people with no particular reason to care about carbon do what wealthier, greener, more ambitious places keep failing to do? To answer that, you have to start with how these projects usually die. The standard story of a green transition goes like this. A government sets a target. Engineers arrive with plans, and the locals who were never asked see towers going up over their fields and vote the whole thing down. The technology is almost never the problem. Wind turbines work. Solar works. The problem is consent, the quiet, stubborn sense that this is being done to you, not with you. In 1997, the Danish Ministry of Environment ran a competition. Design a plan to make your community fully renewable in 10 years. The prize was essentially nothing, no big check, just the title. Samso entered, almost as an afterthought, and won. And then the islanders were left holding a plan that most of them hadn't asked for, and a deadline. This is exactly the moment where these things normally collapse. Except on Samso, there was a man named Søren Hermansen, a local, a farmer's son who taught environmental studies at the island school. And Hermansen understood something the engineers didn't. He didn't go to his neighbors and talk about the climate. He talked about money and ownership. He asked a simple question. When the wind blows across your land, who should get paid for it? That was the whole refrain. Not save the planet. Instead, keep the money on the island. Build the turbines and own them yourselves, and the profit stays here in your account, not a utilities. So Hermansen went door to door, kitchen table to kitchen table, not selling a cause, selling a share. Here is how the island was actually rebuilt, piece by piece. First, the electricity. 11 wind turbines went up on land, each around a megawatt. Between them, they generate more power than every home, farm and business on Samso consumes in a year. Then, the heat. Instead of oil furnaces, the villages built district heating plants that burned straw, the leftover stalks from the island's own grain harvest, piped as hot water into people's homes. Waste from one field, warming the house next to it. And solar collectors on the roofs to carry the summer. A quiet, unglamorous, deeply practical system, the opposite of a moonshot. But electricity and heat were the easy part. The hard part was the cars, the tractors, the ferry, everything that still ran on fossil fuel and would for years. So Samso did something audacious. Out in the sea off the southern coast, they built 10 more turbines offshore, larger, over 2 megawatts each. Not for the island's electricity, to cancel out its transport emissions entirely. Every litre of diesel a Samso tractor burns is offset by clean power. Those offshore turbines push back to the mainland grid. On the balance sheet, the island's transport runs carbon-free. That is what tipped Samso from renewable to energy positive. Now the part that actually explains why it worked. The turbines weren't handed down by the state. They were bought by the islanders. You could buy a share in a turbine the way you'd buy a stake in a fishing boat. Some farmers owned a whole tower outright. Others clubbed together a village cooperative, a few hundred kroner each. Roughly 450 islanders became co-owners of the wind. And when a turbine turned, it wasn't a faceless power company getting richer. It was your neighbor. It was you. That single design choice changed everything. A turbine you own is not an eyesore. It's income. The whine of the blades stops being noise and starts sounding like a dividend. The total bill came to roughly 57 million euros over the decade, most of it raised locally through loans and shares, not government grants. And the turbines paid themselves off in about 8 years. After that, the wind was profit. By 2007, 10 years after that almost accidental competition win, the numbers were in. Samso was producing more renewable energy than it consumed, and exporting the surplus back down the cable to the mainland. Its carbon footprint had gone negative. The island was offsetting more than it emitted. In 2008, Time magazine named Søren Hermansen a hero of the environment. He kept teaching at the island school. Today, that building is the Samso Energy Academy in the village of Ballan. Delegations arrive from Japan, from California, from small islands facing the rising sea, all asking the same thing: how did you do it? And Hermansen's answer tends to disappoint them, because they came for the technology, and he wants to talk about the meetings, the kitchen tables, the share certificates. The lesson of Samso isn't that wind works, everyone knows wind works. It's that a green transition is not, at its heart, an engineering problem. It's a question of who owns the future you're building. Now, the honest caveats. Samso is small, windy, and blessed with a strong grid connection to the mainland it can lean on. Its offset accounting is generous, those tractors still burn diesel. The balance is struck on the books. This is not a switch you flip on a whole nation overnight. But the transferable part isn't the wind speed, it's the ownership model. And that scales anywhere the question can be asked. When the sun and the wind cross your community, who gets paid? Because a turbine imposed on you is a fight. A turbine you own is a pension. Same steel, same blades, completely different island. If you want the full breakdown, the exact plans Samso submitted in 1997, the share structure that made it work, and how communities from Scotland to Japan are copying it. Right now, it's all in the link in the description. That's where this story keeps going.